Hi guys, welcome. Hope you're all doing good and hope your preparation is going on track. Alright, so today let us look at some of the important issues on 18th of November in News in 30 minutes. Alright, so the first issue of the day is regarding tribes. As you know, tribes is a very important theme in your mains as well as prelims, so you should have a very special focus whenever the issues are coming up on tribes. So let us see what the issue is. After Mu draws flag, Odisha cancels the decision to transfer the tribal land to non-tribals. Okay, so there was a decision to transfer the land from tribals to non-tribals. However, this has been withdrawn. Now, what are they talking about? The act that they are talking about, the 67-year-old regulation that they are talking about, is the Scheduled Area Transfer of Immovable Property Regulation 1956. Okay, now this regulation of 1956 was basically created in 1956 to protect tribal land. Okay, as the name suggests, the immovable property, protecting the immovable property of the tribes is what is this act's essence, or this act's spirit. Okay, and regulating the transfer of this immovable property was its main objective. Okay, however, what they do is, the Odisha government in 2002, they come up with an amendment, and in this amendment they allow the scheduled tribes to transfer the land to other tribes. So they can transfer, scheduled tribe can transfer to other tribe within the same community. Okay, that is, they are not allowed to transfer the land to non-scheduled tribe population, but they can transfer the land from scheduled tribe to another scheduled tribe. Okay, so this amendment was allowed in 2002. Along with this, in the same 2002 amendment, it was also allowed that the scheduled tribe can mortgage the land. The scheduled tribe can mortgage the land in any public financial institutions, but only for agricultural purposes. Okay, only for agricultural purposes. Okay, now these were the two things that were actually amended in the Regulation Act of 1956. Okay, and on the advice of the Tribal Advisory Council, we will discuss in a few seconds what this means. The Tribal Advisory Council had advised the government of Odisha, okay, to make sure tribal land can also be given to non-tribals, or it can also be transferred to non-tribals. Okay, now the main idea was to basically monetize the land that can be used for education, health, industries, etc. Okay, this was the idea. Okay, however, this idea of transferring from tribals to non-tribals is what it is what drew flack. It saw a lot of criticisms, and hence the government of Odisha has cancelled this transfer of tribal land to non-tribals. So I hope you understood the entire story of what has happened in Odisha. It is basically to do with the Scheduled Area Transfer of Immovable Property Regulation 1956. Okay, so this is what has happened in Odisha. You can use this as a case study in your answer, but what is very important is, what is this Tribal Advisory Council? And what is the pertaining to this scheduled area? What is the scheduled area that they are talking about? Okay, these are the two aspects that you have to learn from the current affairs to the static perspective. That is, you have to backtrack from the current affairs to your static syllabus. Okay, so to give you an idea of what this Tribal Advisory Council is, you have to know one is 5th schedule in the Indian Constitution. You have to know this. And the next is 6th schedule in the Indian Constitution. Okay, these two are regarding tribes. Okay, this is to protect tribes in mainland India. Okay, and this is basically to protect tribes in northeastern states. Okay, especially it is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. So these four places, the tribes are protected under 6th schedule, and the tribes in the mainland India, okay, are protected under the 5th schedule. Okay, the 5th schedule mainly is giving special attention to the tribes of mainland India to make sure their land is protected. Their land is protected. So the basic idea of the 5th schedule is to protect the land. Okay, yes, after that comes their permission in the usage of resources. Permission in the usage of resources, definitely, that is also there. And then comes protecting their culture. Protecting their culture. Okay, so obviously these two are also the subsidiary objective of 5th schedule, but the main intention of the 5th schedule is to protect the land of the tribes in the mainland India. Okay, now 6th schedule, okay, 6th schedule basically is mainly concerned with protecting the tribal culture. Okay, the unique tribal culture that is possessed in Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur and Mizoram. So their tribal culture plus practices is mainly protected in this 6th schedule. Okay, now let us now discuss a little bit in depth about what are the different provisions in the 5th schedule and the 6th schedule. Okay, first let me talk about the 5th schedule. Okay, according to the 5th schedule, the president will declare any area within the state. The president will declare any area within the state as scheduled area. Okay, and these are the areas that are dominated by tribes. Okay, so it is the president who will declare any area as scheduled area, and this declaration is done on the advice of the governor. On the advice of the governor of that respective state. Okay, so governor will advise, but it is the president who will declare any area as the scheduled area. So once that area is declared as the scheduled area, okay, now the scheduled area will empower the governor. Now the governor will be in charge, okay, of the administration as well as the governance. Administration as well as the governance of these scheduled areas. Okay, so though the president is the one who will declare an area scheduled area, the administration and the governance perspective, the governor handles it. Okay, now the governor is given special rights. Okay, so in accordance with the special rights, the governor has to take care of the land in that region, take care of the the rights of those tribes in the region, and also to protect the tribal culture. So to handle the special rights, the governor will appoint to help the governor to implement the 5th schedule. The governor will appoint something called Tribal Advisory Council. Okay, now this Tribal Advisory Council is something that is set up by the governor. Okay, and this is this council, it is basically varying from state to state. Each state has their own composition of Tribal Advisory Council, but Article 244 okay tells that there has to be a Tribal Advisory Council mandatory in every scheduled area. This is what the article says. Article 244 says mandatory there has to be a Tribal Advisory Council in every scheduled area. Also there is one more point that if president wants, again I am talking about president, if president wants, the president can set up Tribal Advisory Council in an area that is dominated by tribes, but is not declared as scheduled area. Okay, in that cases it is not the governor but the president who will declare the Tribal Advisory Council. I hope you understood this. So just to give you a summarization, 5th schedule is mainly concerning protecting the alienation of land amongst the tribes. So to protect them, the important criteria is for the president to declare that area as scheduled area. The moment the president declares it as scheduled area, the control of the scheduled area comes under the ambit of the governor, and the governor, to help implement the 5th schedule or to help implement the special rights, will appoint something called Tribal Advisory Council. Okay, according to Article 244, it is mandatory for every scheduled area to have a Tribal Advisory Council, okay, which is set up by the governor. But the any area which is not a scheduled area can also have tribal advisory council, but for that president has to appoint that particular council. Okay, now what is the overall composition? See, the composition of the tribal advisory council varies from state to state. Okay, from state to state it varies. However, okay, what is important is overall the constitution tells this condition has to be always the same. Tribal advisory council has to be 20 members. Okay, and this includes one chairperson, and the chairperson is the chief minister of the state. Okay, so the 20 members should have one chairperson within them who is the chief minister of the state. The next is 3/4 of the members. 3/4 of the members must be representatives. They must be representatives of the scheduled tribes. That is, the 3/4 of the MLAs who are going to be selected into tribal advisory council. These MLAs have to be representatives of different scheduled tribes. Okay, so this is one mandatory structure that is mentioned within the constitution. Within this structure of one chairperson, 3/4 of the members from the representative of scheduled tribes, 20 member body. Within this, there can be many variants in different states. Okay, so I hope you understood what is this fifth schedule. Fifth schedule is mainly concerned with the tribal areas in the mainland India. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Let me just give you a glance of what is this sixth schedule. That is how once you study something, you have to study in comprehensive regarding all the other things related to it. Okay, so as I told you, sixth schedule is mainly concerned with protecting tribal areas. Okay, it is mainly concerned with protecting tribal areas in northeastern states. And these northeastern states include 4, not all: Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay, because here the protection is not just land or resources, the protection is much more broader, coming from cultural and practices angle. Because it is much more broader, obviously the sixth schedule will provide more autonomy. It provides more autonomy compared to fifth schedule. Okay, that is one. So here, because it provides more autonomy, how does it provide it more autonomy is the governor is allowed to set up something called autonomous district councils. Okay, ADCs. The governor is allowed to set up autonomous district councils within the state. Okay, within the state, the governor can set up ADCs. Okay, now how does these ADCs work is, the ADCs will constitute 30 members. Okay, and amongst these 30 numbers, 4 are nominated by the governor. Okay, 4 are nominated by the governor, and the rest 26 are elected by the adult franchise. Okay, so I hope you understood how the autonomous district council works. Okay, so autonomous district council is basically working like a constituency. Instead of having one constituency voting for a representative, here the autonomous district council itself is a constituency that appoints or that elects 26 representatives to represent that district. Okay, along with that you will have 4 nominated members from the governor, and together they have to form around 30 members of ADCs. Okay, the reason why we tell that they have more autonomy is this: ADCs will have the power of legislation. It has the power of judiciary. It has the power of administration. Look at this. It has the power of lawmaking. It also can adjudicate several issues, especially revenue and land. It also has the power of administration. Because it has partly all these powers, ADCs are autonomous body. Okay, and the sixth schedule provides relatively higher autonomy compared to the fifth schedule. So ADCs can make rules, laws, regulations regarding land, regarding forest, regarding education, regarding health, regarding practices. Okay, so regarding prohibitions, so regarding protection of culture, transfer of land. So it has a wide ambit of functions. Okay, so I hope you got the difference between the fifth schedule and the sixth schedule. Okay, now in case of Odisha, they are talking about the scheduled areas. Okay, as I told you, scheduled areas are declared by the president, but the the powers to administer the scheduled areas goes to the governor. The governor to implement their special rights, they will appoint the tribal advisory council. Okay, and the state governments can make their own rules in order to govern the scheduled areas, and that rules to govern the scheduled areas in Odisha is what is the Scheduled Area Transfer of Immovable Property Regulation Act. I hope now you are able to relate it. Okay, so this act is made by the state to regulate the scheduled areas that are declared by the president, whose powers to administer is under the control of the governor, who sets up the tribal advisory council in order to help implement the scheduled areas special rights. Okay, so this is the entire setup in the constitution in order to protect the tribes in both the 5th schedule as well as the 6th schedule. I hope it was very elaborative, and I hope you got a clarity of the constitutional structure to protect the tribes in mainland India as well as in northeast, especially in the Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay, so this is the first issue of the day. The second issue is regarding opium cultivation. Opium cultivation is also known as poppy cultivation. Okay, in India, opium cultivation is done only for pharmaceutical purposes, and it is highly regulated by the government. It is highly regulated by the government. Okay, now the article says uncertain future in the sea of poppies. Okay, 3 districts in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan together contribute 80% of India's opium production. See, this stat itself will become very, very important in your prelims exam, and also having an inquisitive mindset is important. The moment you are reading this statement, 3 districts in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan together contribute 80% of India's opium production, you should have the interest to see where are these 3 districts and what are these 3 districts. Okay, so that is what is called inquisitive mindset. That is how the moment you are reading any information, if your inquisitive mindset triggers, that means that you will go one level extra to learn about them. Okay, anyways, I will do the job for you in this particular article, but overall when you are reading, that is the attitude that you have to carry regarding your preparation. Okay, so 3 districts in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan together contribute 80% of India's opium production, and already facing the problem of stagnant procurement, okay, and rising input prices. The farmers are now angry with the union government for opening opium production processing to private players. So basically what is happening is, opium, as I told you, is highly regulated, and it was done by the farmers and it was sold directly to the government. Okay, now what the government has done is, in 2021-22 the government came up with something called opium policy. Okay, and in this opium policy it has now invited private players, okay, to both produce and process. Okay, to both produce and process, and this has invited flack from the farmer community, because already they are facing losses. Okay, and by inviting private players, they are going to incur even more losses. That is the issue that is happening. Okay, as I told you, opium cultivation is mainly used for pharmaceutical purposes. Otherwise, it is not allowed. It is illegal because it can be used in the manufacturing of drug called heroin. Okay, and other opioids. Okay, so it is highly regulated. Okay, again, now if I take India, we have something called Mewar region. Okay, if I draw the India map, okay, so Mewar comes somewhere here. Okay, this is Mewar, this is Malwa, don't get confused, let me just redo it. Okay, this is Mewar and this is Malwa, both are different, don't get confused. So Mewar region is a region that is that is shared by both Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, it is shared by both Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and here there are 3 districts. The name of the districts is Mandsaur, Neemuch and Chittorgarh. Okay, Mandsaur, Neemuch and Chittorgarh. These 3 districts in Mewar region of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh produce 80% of India's opium production. Okay, so this is the geographical aspect that you should know. Okay, now one more information that you should know is, if you take opium poppy, then 2 things can come out of it. That is, from this opium poppy raw material, I can manufacture or produce. I can produce two things. Okay, one is opium gum. Another is something called concentrate of poppy straw. Okay, now until recently this was not being used at all. The only thing that the government was interested was in opium gum. So the farmers, after growing the opium poppy, they should make the opium gum and sell this opium gum directly to the Central Bureau of Narcotics. They used to sell them directly to Central Bureau of Narcotics. Central Bureau of Narcotics comes under Ministry of Finance. Okay, so this used to happen. Now with the coming of the opium policy, of 2021-22, now they are now encouraging even the growing of this concentrate of poppy straw. They are called CPS. This was not being done before. Only in this the opium policy. Now they are now focusing on concentrate of poppy straw also to increase the production of this opium alkaloids. Okay, anyways, so this is the issue. Now the entire issue is happening from this policy which is incentivizing private players, as I already told you. Okay, and farmers are not happy because private players, one, can incur more losses to these farmers, and also there is a question of national security. Okay, already India is reeling under problem of drugs, especially amongst the youth. So we again by the coming of private players, there can be overproduction that can enter the market in a illegitimate manner that can affect the youth of this country. That is another perception that has to be analyzed. So this is what is the issue with the poppy cultivation with India. So I hope you understood this issue. All right. The next issue is an international affair issue. The geopolitical fallout of Israel-Hamas war. Okay. The conflict is expediting many changes in regional dynamics, with the growing presence of Russia and China offering regional players alternatives to American vision. Okay. The reason you should know this is very important for your GS2 of international relations, and especially how the regional geopolitics occurs. Okay, and as you already know, West Asia is a very important theme in your prelims exam, so you should also have a very good idea about what is happening in West Asia. Okay, now this article basically divides in two ways. Okay, one, it talks about USA when it was interested in West Asia. That is one part of the article. The second part of the article is USA when it deprioritized West Asia, which is currently happening. Okay, so before, USA was interested in West Asia mainly for its oil resources. Because USA was dependent on the oil in West Asia, it was interested in West Asia. And when it was interested in West Asia, as you know, USA's very strategic ally has been Israel. Okay, Israel has always been an ally of USA. So to forge a relationship between Israel and Arab nations, that is Gulf Arabs, the USA came up with a accord called Abraham Accords. Okay, this is basically to improve the relationship of Israel with Gulf Arab countries. So Abraham Accords was signed in 2020. It is a series of agreements. It is a series of agreements that are signed between Israel and one UAE, Morocco and Bahrain. Okay, so Israel has signed series of agreement with UAE, Morocco and Bahrain. This series of agreements that is signed is known as Abraham Accords. Okay, so this initiation was done by USA when USA had its interest in West Asia. Okay, however, if you take the present times, okay, this is when the USA had interest in West Asia. However, if you take the present time, USA has deprioritized West Asia because USA is no longer dependent on West Asia. The reasons are because in USA has undergone shale gas exploration, so shale gas revolution is undertaking, and USA is also moving towards renewable energy. So because of all these reasons, it is no more dependent on West Asia for the resources of oil and natural gas. So it has deprioritized West Asia. So by deprioritizing West Asia, two things are happening in West Asia. One, this has opened opportunities for other global powers, and one such global power is China. Okay, another is India. So it has opened opportunity for other global powers. That is one thing that has happened. The second thing that has happened is the Gulf Arab nations, they themselves are looking for more autonomy as well as more tactical changes. Okay, so two things are happening in West Asia post the deprioritization of USA regarding West Asia. So opening of opportunities for other global players. Let me give you an example where China has brokered a deal. That is Saudi-Iran normalization. See, this is a deal that is brokered by China. Okay, that shows that China has taken up the opportunity to fill up the vacuum created by USA. India is also not remaining back. India is also trying to increase its presence. One, obviously we know that the most of the India's diaspora is concentrated in West Asia. The second is India is also coming up with several initiatives like India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. Okay, that is another one. The next is in BRICS. Okay, in BRICS there was expansion of BRICS to include UAE, Saudi. Okay, so these expansion of BRICS to include West Asian nations, okay, also shows the point that India is also using the opportunity to make its presence felt in the vacuum created by USA in West Asia. Okay, so this is one that is happening in West Asia currently. The second is the Gulf Arabs are also looking for more autonomy and more tactical changes. An example is one, UAE and Saudi Arabia. UAE and Saudi Arabia did not sanction Russia. They did not sanction Russia due to Russia-Ukraine war. Even though USA put pressure on them, they did not sanction Russia in Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, Saudi is still going ahead with something called OPEC plus as Russia within its ambit. Okay, so it has continued the cooperation with Russia through OPEC plus. That shows that USA is no more a major actor in West Asia, as well as West Asia is looking for more autonomy. The third another reason is recently the Iranian president went to Saudi Arabia to discuss the war in Gaza. Okay, so the Palestine-Israel war that is happening in Gaza. So Iran-Saudi Arabia normalization that was started by China is now seeing its manifestations. Okay, so this is what is happening currently in West Asia. Okay, to summarize, one, USA USA was interested in West Asia, it not only interfered in the internal affairs. Interfered in the internal affairs of West Asia, but also it tried to forge a relationship between Israel with Arab nations. The best example is Arab Accords, where there was a series of agreements that was signed between Israel and UAE, Israel and Morocco, Israel and Bahrain. However, recently, the recent phenomena is USA has deprioritized itself from West Asia. This deprioritizing has created two different angles in West Asia. One is it has opened up the opportunity for global players to make their presence felt in the vacuum created by USA, and in that India and China are playing an important role. China is through Saudi-Iran normalization as well as several infrastructural projects is playing its role. India is playing via diaspora as well as the expansion of BRICS to include West Asian nations and India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor as well. Now, the second dimension that is happening in West Asia is the Gulf countries themselves are looking for more autonomy and more tactical changes. Example is UAE and Saudi Arabia did not impose any sanction on Russia because of Russia-Ukraine war, though there was a pressure from Western nations. Also, Saudi is in good contact with Russia through OPEC plus. And the last is the Iranian president going to Saudi Arabia, which shows the Saudi-Iran normalization is still intact. Okay, so this is some of the changes, the geopolitical changes Okay, the geopolitical changes that are happening in West Asia. Again, this is a very important and expected question in GS2 of this year, that is 24 mains. There is a very high chance that this question can come. Okay, so I hope you understood what are the geopolitical changes that are happening in West Asia and how India is forging its role to make its presence felt in the vacuum created by USA in West Asia. Okay, so this is about this issue. The next issue is the Voice of Global South Summit. It started yesterday. Okay, yesterday's summit was the second time that India has hosted this. The first was in January of this year, January 2023. We hosted the first of Voice of Global South Summit. The second time we are hosting the Voice of Global South Summit now. Okay, so this is the second summit that we have hosted. Now this basically, as the name suggests, the Voice of Global South is basically to strengthen the South-South collaboration. Okay, and in this the Prime Minister of India has come up with several initiatives and has called for several dialogues which are important for you to know, and it is important for you to use this in your answers as well. The first, what that is happening, I'm talking about the VOGSS second summit. What all announcements were made in this VOGSS second summit? The first is our Prime Minister has launched something called Dakshin. Okay, Dakshin is Development and Knowledge Sharing Initiative. Development and Knowledge Sharing Initiative. Okay, this is basically creating a global South Center for Excellence. Okay, this is the first announcement. The next is our Prime Minister has announced that in the 1 month we will be setting up something called Global Summit for Artificial Intelligence. This is very, very important and very much required in India. Okay, and this is basically for responsible use of AI. It is mainly for responsible use of AI. Okay, the next is India has also called or invited all the countries for Global Biofuel Alliance. That is another call. This Global Biofuel Alliance was set up in the G20 presidency, and this Biofuel Alliance is to improve the market to trade biofuels. Okay, and if I have to talk about India regarding biofuels, India has completed 10% blending of ethanol. India has completed 10% blending of ethanol with petroleum, and the next target is 2025. The next target is 20% blending of ethanol with petroleum. Okay, so India is, with respect to mass conversion, as is taking a very good and strong steps. Okay, so this is the third initiative. The next is India has also called for sharing digital public infrastructure. Sharing digital public infrastructure. We discussed this digital infrastructure a few days back. So this digital public infrastructure, what is digital public infrastructure and what is digital public goods? We have discussed this in detail in one of the previous videos. However, sharing digital public infrastructure is one more initiative. The last one is, it is also spoken about the supply chain. How to strengthen the supply chain and how to make sure that our supply chain remains resilient in any type of global slowdown. Okay, so these are the 4 important announcements that were made in the Voice of Global South Summit. Dakshin, that's Development of Knowledge Sharing and Initiative. Our PM has announced there will be a global summit for AI in next 1 month, which talks about responsible use of AI and regulating AI. The next is they are invited countries of Global Biofuel Alliance. Okay, and the next is they have told about sharing digital public infrastructure, which is called as India Stack in India. Okay, and the next is they have also spoken about the supply chain resilience in especially the South-South collaboration. Okay, so these are few announcements that are done in our Voice of Global South Summit. Okay, the next issue is India aspires to take technical textiles market to 40 billion in 4 to 5 years. Okay, so currently India is the 5th largest producer of technical textile in the world with a market size of 22 billion. Okay, so India is the 5th largest producer of technical textiles. Now what are textiles? See, technical textiles. Textiles are of two types. One, it is used for aesthetics, and the second is it is used for functional. Okay, when the textile is used purely for functional purposes, then this becomes technical textiles. Okay, it has nothing to do with aesthetics, it is purely to do with functional. Okay, that is what is technical textile. So these technical textiles that have functionality as the main criteria are used in different categories. They are used in agriculture, they are used in industries, they are used in medical, they are used in building. So accordingly they are called agri-tech, industry tech, medical tech. Okay, it is called build tech. Okay, so like that they keep calling it as tech. The tech means technical textiles. So these are different varieties or varied areas of application of this technical textile. The reason why technical textile is very important is it is a sunrise industry. When I say sunrise industry, there is high potential for these industries to grow in the future. The second is it has very important properties. It has very important properties that are very crucial in the future. Okay, the properties are these textiles will have antibacterial properties, they will have anti-static properties, they will have chemical resistance. Okay, they will have flame retardants. So these are some of the important, that is why they become functional. They are functional more than they are aesthetic. Okay, so these are some of the properties of technical textile, and because of these properties they have wide applications. Okay, hence technical textiles are very important. So I hope you got to know what is technical textiles, those textiles that are purely based on function as a main purpose, what are its application areas, and what are its important properties. And why it is important is because technical textiles are the sunrise industry. Okay, the reason why I tell them as sunrise industry is, see, the Confederation of Indian Industry tells that currently we have the export of around 2.5 billion. Our export is 2.5 billion. It is set to reach $10 billion by 2030. Okay, it is set to reach $10 billion by 2030. So this becomes sunrise industry. That is, there is very high potential for it to grow. And as the Ministry of Textile just told, we just heard that it is the fifth. India is the fifth largest market. Okay, and currently we have the market of around 23 billion. Okay, and we are looking at this market to grow to 40 billion by 2030. Okay, so these 2 points, that technical textiles is the new sunrise industry. Okay, so this is what is technical textiles. So in this regard, the government had come up with something called National Technical Textile Mission. The government had come up with something called National Technical Textile Mission. The main job of this mission is to encourage startup and innovations in technical textile. That is one. The second is to also incentivize technical textile education in higher educational institutions. Okay, to include technical textile education in higher educational institutions. The next is to allocate 1,000 crore rupees for R&D in technical textile. Okay, and the last is it also has extended this. This started in 2020. Okay, and this is now been extended up to 2026. Okay, and to give you an update, 126 projects have been approved under this mission. Okay, so it is extended up to 2026 and 126 projects have been approved. So this is the current status of National Technical Textile Missions. Okay, I hope you understood this. Technical textile as a concept itself can be asked in prelims. So I hope you got an idea of what this technical textile is all about. Okay, all right, let us go to the last issue of the day. The last issue of the day is the Tamil Nadu government plans to reenact bills as governor withholds assent. Okay, so if you remember, or if you don't, please go to 4th November video, and the timestamp of that 4th November is 26 minutes 27 seconds. Okay, here I have spoken about the topic of Article 200 and the role of governor. Okay, so this is the issue that is happening. Now under Article 200, the governor, once the governor gets the bill, the governor can perform the following functions. One, the governor can give his assent to the bill. Okay, so the government agrees to the bill. The second is the governor will withhold the bill. The third is the governor will return the bill, or the governor will reserve the bill for the president. Okay, the problem what is happening is the governor, okay, not only in Tamil Nadu but also in Telangana you had seen the same case happening. Now the governor is using this power of withholding unnecessarily. Okay, that is the issue that is happening regarding Article 200, and that is why you are seeing the Tamil Nadu government is trying to reenact the bills in a special session. Okay, however, if you have to get the full clarity of what is happening regarding Article 200, please go to 4th November and 26 minute 27 seconds. You can watch this particular video. Okay, just to give you an insight, this Tamil Nadu governor has withheld. This Tamil Nadu governor has withheld 11 bills. Okay, withheld 11 bills that has been passed by the state assembly. Okay, this is creating a conundrum of governance in especially Tamil Nadu. Okay, so this is what the entire issue is. Now just one more addition that I want to make in this is, one, you please go back to that video and look at it completely. One new thing is, in 1974 there was a 7-bench judgment. Okay, there was a 7-judge judgment, and that case is known as Shamsher Singh versus the state of Punjab. Shamsher Singh versus the state of Punjab, and in this, in the judgment, it was said that the governor of the state, okay, the governor of the state can act only upon and in accordance with the aid and advice of their ministers, save in a few well-known exceptional situations. Look at this, they have made it very, very clear, exceptional situations. This is what was given in the judgment. Now if you observe, look at this, save in a few well-known exceptional situations. So the governor cannot use his or her discretionary powers every time. They can only use it in a few well-known exceptional situations. So this is what was told in Shamsher Singh versus the state of Punjab case in 1974, which was a 7-judge judgment. Okay, so I hope you can use this or add this into your notes. All right, and these governor and the issues surrounding the governor is making a lot of news, so you can expect the questions to come regarding the governor in GS2 paper of mains, or they can ask you on the roles, responsibilities and different parameters and provisions of constitutions of the governor in prelims as well. So I hope you get a very good well-rounded view of this governor and their roles and issues surrounding them. Okay, so these were some of the important issues of the day. I hope it was helpful, and I hope these issues are helping you in your preparation in some minute way. If it is, then please like, share and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support. I'll see you on Monday, and I along with you will be watching the World Cup match, and let us pray that India wins this match. Again, thank you for all the love and support. I'll see you on Monday. Bye, guys.